Okay guys, welcome to Empire Total War, and this video is basically going to be, the first part of it anyway is going to be a tutorial, and then we'll take everyone through a walkthrough of the game where I will explain why I'm doing what I'm doing with the faction that I chose, and hopefully you'll enjoy and maybe learn something. So a little bit of information about Total War if you haven't played. There's a lot of different time periods for this game. This one starts out in the 1700s, so a little bit before the American Revolution, and includes mostly Europe and the Mediterranean countries and the New World, like colonies in India and the Americas. And what you're basically doing is managing a nation like, let's say, Britain, and you're managing economy, technology, diplomacy, trade, and war. So we'll get started here. It's kind of a mix between a real-time strategy game and a turn-based strategy game. So once we make the choice to do a campaign, we get to choose what type of faction we want to be. And other games did a really good job of explaining the advantages of being a faction. They'll tell you some of the unique units that the faction may have and what their weaknesses and strengths are. This one doesn't, which is kind of unfortunate. But if you read through the descriptions, it's going to give you an idea of what the faction is like, broad as that may be. But I'm going to be Spain just because I haven't been them before and I haven't played this game in a couple of years. But I think Spain would be kind of difficult for me to be because supposedly they have a weak economy and they have a lot of land that is difficult to defend in a new world. And we'll choose long campaign. And over here, it's going to tell us what we need to do in order to win. We will need to control 35 regions and control a few of these provinces over here. There's some other methods you could play, like prestige victory or world domination, which might mean that you need to control all the provinces in the world, but we're not going to do that right now. All right, so let's get started. Okay, let's go through a little overview of the game. Hopefully the advisor won't interrupt too much. So if we look down here in the left corner, there is the world map, and we are Spain. So any of these yellow cities here belong to us. And I'll explain how we could track those in a few moments. But basically, we are competing with other countries for resources and land. If we go in the bottom left-hand corner here, I could click this button and it'll take me to a different theater. Like this is the New World, a little bit of North and South America. I have 2 provinces here. Actually, I think I have 3. And then these are actually some provinces that are owned by New Spain, which is a protectorate or colonies of us. Then there's also India. If we go to the world view, we could see the different theaters and click on them and go there as we choose. Here's some trade routes also that are in the globe. And if we choose to send ships here to help make us some money, which you'll understand in a bit, we can. Okay, so back to Europe. Let's start at the top. So this button here is going to take us to our government view, and it's going to kind of tell us what our religion is, which is important. We're Catholic. Other countries might be Protestant. They might be pagan. They might be Orthodox Catholic, or they might be Muslim. So this is going to tell us what religion we have, which is important also because if I'm neighboring a Muslim nation like this one, see these guys are Muslim when I click on a city. If I try to take over the city, these people are going to be unhappy because they're Muslim and I'm Catholic. So it might be important to me to move a priest or build a church here if I were to take over this city. This area here is going to tell us about our income and our expenses. That's important. We could see how much money we're getting from taxes and how much money we're getting from trade and some other income, which might be from some of the buildings and towns that we have. And then this area is going to show us how much our Army is costing us, which is important, and our Navy. You don't want to make one of these two areas, you don't want to make your military too big because it's going to end up bankrupting you if you don't have a decent economy. I like to build up my economy and play defense until I feel like it's strong enough. Here we're going to see just pertaining to our nation, who our allies are, who we're at war with, and who we can trade with. So if we look under the policy section, this will give us a map of the world. We can look at the different regions. Basically, this is important to control taxes. So I like to keep my lower class taxes where it is. And if we raise the upper class taxes or the noble taxes, we can see how much money that would increase. So if I raise the lower class taxes, that's going to make it so my population can't grow. I may get more money in the short term, like another $400 if we look over here, but it's going to stagnate growth, which is something I don't want to have happen. Because the more people I have, the higher tax base I'll have, so I'll get more money in the long run. And if I increase taxes on the nobles too much, then that may slow town growth, okay? And the towns are important because they're going to have farms or industrial buildings that are going to make me money. And basically, I want to concentrate, I think, on growing the lower class for me. So I'm going to concentrate on farming. And I could care a little bit less about town growth. So I'll make this higher, and I'll leave this where it's at. Because I want the population to provide me with taxes, not necessarily my buildings to provide me with my main source of income. And then we could take a look here at some of the benefits of having the higher low taxes and what it will mean for us. And then if I look here, I could see these yellow areas. That means the nobles are unhappy, perhaps, that I raise the taxes. And you could go to the different theaters and see how these folks are affected as well. So I could raise the noble taxes in this theater, which is really providing me with minimal increase in taxes. So I'll leave that where it is. That way I'm going to go ahead and have a better chance of having more town growth. All right, this is going to show us our government. Now here's our leader who we can't change, but if I scroll the mouse over him, I'm going to see what he's doing for us. -20 diplomatic relations. That's not good. That means we're going to have difficulty dealing with other countries. -2 prestige per turn. We get prestige from building good buildings in our towns, which we'll go over in a minute. But this is basically going to tell us that we're not very respected in the international community. So then if I look at some of these different areas, I could look at the amount of stars that some of these people have, and that's going to tell me how decent they are. I could also mouse over them again to see what they're doing for me. So if I select on someone, like this guy is doing nothing for me, and he's the head of state. If I boot him from office, I have a chance at getting someone that maybe, hopefully this 4-star guy, is going to do something for me. So I'm going to kick him. Boom. Now I have this guy who's also giving me nothing. I'm going to kick him again. I want that 4-star gentleman. There he is. So we get +2 diplomatic relations and +1 turn to town wealth in the home theater. That's good. The trade tab is going to tell us what we have for trade. So we are exporting sugar and tobacco. And if we look up here, this is going to tell us the value of different goods in the market. So tobacco is worth 11 gold, which is pretty good. Sugar is worth 12. It looks like spices and ivory are worth the most. And it might serve us to go and acquire some resources that we don't have access to, because then we could have more resources to import, which will make our people happy, and then we'll have more resources to export. However, we may have more exports available than we're exporting because we don't have the harbors to export. This is showing us that these are the goods that are being traded by land, which is important. So $796 of our trade income is coming by land. These goods that are coming by sea, right here, could potentially be cut off if it were war and we get barricaded or that's going to make us lose some income. This objective tab is important because it's going to tell us what we need to do to win the game. So we need to control a set amount of provinces, and we need to control certain provinces to win the game. So these provinces that are here in red, need to control this one, need to control this one, Portugal, Morocco. Then along the other side here, it's going to tell us what ones we control. Okay. This tab I look at every now and then if I'm thinking of going to war with someone. Here we are. I might want to see how heavy their military is, how much money they have. If it's someone that has a great economy, that might be someone worth invading because maybe they have a lot of great resources or buildings that I could take advantage of. If someone has a very strong naval power, maybe I don't want to get in a conflict with them. And same thing with military. Look at diplomacy. So this is important because it's going to tell us where we're at in the world. The first thing, if we look along the column here, we'll see who we could trade with. We are trading with France, and we can't trade with these other countries because we don't have the amount of ports that we need. If I was to look at some of the minor nations of the world, these are typically city-states that don't try to attack you. We could see who we're trading with as well. We're not trading with Morocco. They're hostile towards us. We're not trading with Portugal, but we could because we have a ground connection to them, okay? So one cool thing is if you click on your own country, Spain, you could see Spain and how we feel about everyone else. So Spain feels like they like France, they dislike this area, they dislike Morocco, they dislike the Indians over here. But sometimes other countries may not feel the same way towards us as we do towards them. Let's look at some examples. So here's Britain. Britain's here. Britain really likes Portugal. They don't like us very much. They like Russia and they like Sweden. Let's see what Sweden thinks. Sweden hates Russia, but they kind of like Britain, but not as much as Britain likes them. And they kind of like us, but not that much. We actually kind of like them as well. Let's see what Russia thinks. So this is basically important because we could see, okay, if I want to be an ally with Russia, what does my people think of Russia? Well, we don't like them. What does Russia think of us? Well, we may not like Russia, but Russia actually likes us, kind of. It says they're indifferent. So these nations that are hostile towards us, the white spot is where they are, is going to give us an idea of someone that may consider attacking us. Okay? So United Provinces, they may attack us. Here's the research tab. Research is important because it's going to help us win the game if you manage this correctly. There's military technologies, which might do things like help your people have better bayonets. This is for ground forces over here. These are different types of cannon shot or different types of cannons. You need to research military technology to build better military buildings. Here's some naval military techs that are going to allow maybe your ships to move further. Maybe they'll have stronger hulls. Maybe they'll fire faster. Here's your industrial technologies. There's agriculture, metallurgy, and then textile. These two buildings are going to give you weapon technologies and money. These buildings are going to help with population growth. So I actually like investing in these relatively early on. Then there's philosophy. So these are going to help you, for one, research faster, and two, maybe you're going to be able to have better diplomatic relations with other countries. So if I right-click on empiricism, for example, it's going to tell us that if I select to research this, I'm going to have 5% technology research rate. That's good. I'm also going to have some extra growth. Let's say I went back here and I right-clicked on this building. It's going to tell us we'll have a reduced chance of food shortages. I'll have a -1 happiness to my lower classes of people because they'll probably have to work the land, but I need this in order to build better farms. If I build this farm, I might be able to get this technology, which is going to continue to help with population growth. So you kind of want to go through here and plan out what you're going to do. For the start, I want to make an investment in technology off the bat. So this one's going to give me 10% research rate and plus 1% the town wealth growth. So I'm going to research this to help us get better research rate. And the more schools you build, which when you have town growth, you could build a building and you may choose to build a school, the more research you could do simultaneously. So if I had 2 schools here, I could research 2 things, like social contract and maybe military technology. But right now, I only have one school, and I would like a 10% increased research rate. Okay. This is building browser down here is basically going to tell us all the buildings that we have currently and what their level is. So I could kind of get an idea of where I could grow them. I don't really look at this too much because I'll actually go to my list scroll. Usually on my turn, actually, the first thing I will do is I will go to my cities. So here's a city. And this is going to show us all the buildings that we have. If you don't know what it does, right click it and it's going to tell you. So this is our capital. So our capital has this military building, a barracks, which is going to help us recruit these troops. But we can't recruit these troops because apparently we need carbines or we need machine rifling. I can't build this next one because I don't have this technology, okay? And also the more of these military buildings you have, or the more of these palaces or government buildings you have, the more defense you'll have in your province. So I'll get to that in a second. So this building, I want to build these as quickly as possible because they're going to give me a huge increase in tax income, and it's going to allow me to recruit more units. It's also going to give me it's going to give me more reserve units in my province, which I'll cover why that is in a second. So each of these have their own benefits, which I will go through in a second. If I want to recruit troops, I do that to the recruitment tab. I can right click on a troop to see what he does. So early on in the game, if you choose to be at war, which I'm going to try to play defense until someone declares war on me, which is inevitable. If I right click on the troops, it's going to tell me what they do. So here's a rifleman, for example, militia. His range is 70. Here's his accuracy, 25, pretty low. Melee attack, defense, morale. The morale is important because if they get hit or if they start losing, how long will they stay and fight? 4 is pretty low. So if they flee, they may cause other people around them to flee. So if we look at this guy, his upkeep cost is 170. There's 120 of these guys. So their accuracy is 25, which is pretty poor, and their reload skill is 10. A little more advanced unit, it's 260 for him for upkeep instead of 170. And his accuracy is 40 instead of 25. And a reload skill for this guy's 10 and his morale is 4. His morale is 7 with a far better reload skill, 25. And his melee attack is better and his defense is better. So if I do plan on being a little bit offensive or I know I'm going to be attacked, I might build a few units of higher value. But early on, I believe that mass numbers of cheaper units are better in winning battles. So right now I'm not going to build anyone. Infrastructure is important because the roads, if we right click on this road, we will see that it's going to provide growth to the town wealth and also it helps with transportation. If I were to increase the road size, I'll get another point towards town growth and also have faster travel. Then this tab is going to tell me what military I have in the area, okay? There's also towns. So here's your city that you have, and then outside the city there are towns. So here, for example, is my school, all right? And I could upgrade this if I had the technology. All right, so this is school is what allows me to do research. So I could see this school causing me -4 happiness to the lower classes. Here's a building that's industrial, and it's going to give me some money. So right now I'm making 400 off this, and some growth to town wealth. $400 per turn. I could go up to $600 per turn if I spend $200 to upgrade this, okay? There are also churches that you could build, and the churches are important if I could find one. There we go. Churches are important because they're going to help increase the Catholicism, which is our religion in this area. So if I take over this area, I may want to build a church in one of the towns and destroy, with this fire button, one of the mosques that they would have there, okay? Farms, which I have one over here, they're important because they're going to help for growth. They also give you money. If I invest in research and agriculture, I'll also see that down the line, when I look at some of these, I may actually get more money out of farming. And these are important because the more growth, the higher tax base. Then there are these coaching houses or inns or whatever. They'll provide you with some happiness, but they also allow you to recruit rakes or assassins And then your schools help you recruit gentlemen. So we'll go over that now. So usually the first part of my turn, what I'll do is I'll choose what I want to build. And I want to spend my money on things that are going to make me money, and primarily these diplomatic buildings off the start, because they're also going to provide me with greater defense in my area. When I look around my map, here I am surrounded, which is unfortunate. Italy does not like me very much if I look into diplomatic areas, and these guys are going to end up being lost at some point, in my opinion. If I look at this city here, I could see that it's making me $850 a turn, and that's going down. And the population is 2.1 million, and the upper classes and the lower classes are happy. If we double click on this, we could see how close everyone is to being unhappy. So this shows everything that makes them happy. This shows everything that makes them unhappy. Like right here is just the tax burden. Another area might be religion. So when I build those buildings that I was talking about that make money, some of these governmental buildings or military building, it's going to increase the positive. And they'll do it for both the lower classes and upper. This is also going to tell us maybe what we have for trade and a couple other things. If I take over this area and let's say it's in an Arab country and they're Muslim, I may choose to exempt them from taxes to make everyone here really happy. And I see how much income I'm getting here. So I kind of value this province low because it's only making me $850. This province that I own is making me $2,000, and I don't have any garrison there. There's no one in the military tab. So my plan is going to be to build this up because I'm going to inevitably be attacked over here, in my opinion. That way I could protect that. Let's look at this town. This town's making me some good cash as well. So maybe I want to try to protect this area and this area. So I'm not going to have an issue or any problems building up these two areas. This one's making me some significant income as well. So let's get started. This will be completed in 3 turns. It's going to provide me some greater repression in the region, which is going to make everyone happy, and some more money. And also some more building slot for troops. Let's get that one going. These guys are about to declare war on me anytime. Tough call. I think we'll build this facility here. See how long we might be able to hold these guys off for. I don't want to end up spending a lot of cash out there. We do end up going to war. Let's build that up another 3 turns. We have 3 grand left. I just want to bulk up the frontier here. Here's an Arab country, Morocco, or African anyway. I'm going to move some troops over here. Thank you, madam. Move these guys over here as a deterrent from the Moroccans attacking me. Check this out. 1,000 if they attack here. So there are different types of ports as well, and you could press this button to scroll through your ports, but basically a shipyard is going to allow you to recruit military ships, and maybe they'll have more experience, like the sloop here. If I were to recruit that sloop, it's going to have some veteran experience, okay? If I go over to a trading port, the ships I can recruit there, it's going to give me a lot more money and a lot more trading capacity. Excuse me, but the ships I recruit here are not going to be as good. Like I have a trade ship, I have a sloop with no experience, brig with no experience, and a galleon. I'm going to move this guy. I think I'll move this guy over here. And I'll recruit a galleon. It's going to take a couple turns. It's a pretty powerful ship. Eating up quite a bit of our funds. Let's go to this theater here, see what we have. Can't build the building there. And I can build this building here. So I want to build up all my government buildings for my strategy as quick as I can. All right. There's a stinking pirate. Let's go into this port here. I don't want to be attacked, and I like to play defense, so I'm gonna put this guy over here in this port. That way, he's protected. A few troops around here. See, I may need to transport some troops to a few different areas. All right. So now what I do is $324. So normally what I'll do is I'll go through all my towns like this, and I'll see where I could construct something, and if I have the money to construct it, cycle through them. Then if I feel satisfied with where I'm spending my money there, then I might go over to a town, and I said town before and I meant city. Now I'll go over to a town, and I'll see what I could build, and I'll prioritize farms first. So here I could build a farm for 300, and then I kind of cycle through all these until I finish up and run out of money, which right now I have 24, so I can't do that. Okay, so I'm at war. Whoop, wrong tab. Forget who I'm at war with. Let's just double check this before we end the turn. Who am I at war with? There we go. The Cherokee Nations. Where are these guys? They're these white nations here. These are the Cherokee, and it says at war if you look at the screen. I'm at war with these guys here, at peace above. So on my borders of Florida here, I'm at war. If I look at my army, I may want to build this up just a little bit. Maybe next turn I might actually want to recruit a general here, which is going to give me better leadership. So if I look at this tab, I can see where all my armies are. I have some cannon there. If I left click here, I could see where these guys are. These guys already moved. These guys I'll leave here because I want to play defense. I'm going to move these guys down here right now because I'm already going to count this province off as a loss. And I just want to put these guys here. I'll probably piss off my neighbors, but they're going to get mad at me anyway. And here's all my fleets. Okay. This kind of shows my regions at a glance. It's going to show me where population is going up and down and where money is going up and down. Okay. So here there's money going down, down, down. I need to build some government buildings in all these areas that I choose to keep. In the areas where the population is going down, I need to build farms. And the agents tab. So here's a priest. And this province, if I scroll over, I have the priest selected. If I scroll over, I could see that the priest is telling me this is 95% Catholic here. If I move up here, it's 0% Catholic in the Cherokee area. Same here. So I'm going to move this priest up into one of these Cherokee cities. I'll right click by doing that to see how many, see if I can start converting people here. And that means the green is done this turn, and then the red is the second turn, and this one's 3 turns. So that gives you an idea. If roads were built here that were better, he'd get there a lot faster. Since I'm playing defense, the roads may give me money, but for right here, I want to slow the travel of anyone coming in through Florida, so I'm not going to build roads there yet. Priests also act as kind of a spy, so I could see what's going on where. So I'm going to move this priest into here. And when I do move the priest in there, I'm going to be able to get hopefully some more. I'll try to get some detailed information, but the priest in here is going to allow me to have greater conversion. Okay, a gentleman could duel other gentlemen, which means he could kill an enemy gentleman, which is going to gain him more stars in a side, which is better experience. Or you could put him in your school to help you research something faster. So right now, we are researching this at 7 turns. Let's move the gentleman into the school and see how he helps us. 5 turns. So I prefer to keep my gentleman in the school. I don't send him out too often. If I right-click the gentleman, it'll kind of tell us what he's good at. He has some pretty good research skill. He's a doctorate, which gives us +1 research. And he's devout, which means we're going to get +2 zeal for religion and 10% to religious unrest. So he's a good person to have in a region, basically. Look at the rake. The rake is like an assassin and a spy. So this guy only has 3 stars. And what I could do to increase his stars would be to take him over here to an enemy province. Let's say I clicked on this. He could infiltrate it, or he could assassinate someone if they were there. His success chance at infiltration is 95%. Or I could have him try to sabotage this building. If it's sabotage, that means it'll be broken, and the enemy has to pay money to fix it. And if they don't, they won't get any income from this building this turn. I have a 48% chance of doing that. So early on, with my rake, if he's at 3 stars, I'll try to sabotage a couple buildings to get his stars up. Because then it'll be 90%, 80% chance of sabotage. And when your sabotage chance is that high, that means you could assassinate other rakes or gentlemen easily, or generals. And the rakes are important, or how the rakes could be improved to get better ones is by improving these coaching houses. If you build better coaching houses, you'll get a better quality rake. And if you improve over here in these conservatories, later on, some of them will offer different benefits that may offer happiness and also a better rake. And then bigger schools are going to offer a better gentleman, okay? So I think I've done everything I want to do. All my agents, my rake. These guys are hostile towards me, so let's go ahead and the school will infiltrate. Success. So that'll add to his experience. They don't have a gentleman in here. Maybe in the future there's a gentleman. I could kill him if my experience gets high enough. All right, so let's go ahead and end the turn. Actually, what I will do is just end this as the first part of the tutorial. So if you guys want to continue on with the walkthrough, we'll do that. So I'll stop the recording, and hopefully we'll see you in the next turn, and we'll encounter some battles and some naval battles as well.